اللهم صل على السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون. Respected brothers and elders, mothers and sisters in Islam, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us in the company of the righteous in this world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise us amongst the righteous on the day of Qiyamah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill our lives with mercy and rahmah, as all of us are in the need of the rahmah and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah, with the fadl of Allah, with the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we begin the 18th day of our fasting in this month of Ramadan. We're almost reaching the last ashra. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to reach that in the best of our iman, the best of our health, inshallah, and to really work towards finding the night of Qadr and make these moments in time beneficial for all of us. So the ayat of the Quran that I recited in front of you is from the 18th Sipara, the 18th juz, because this is our 18th fast. And the surah is known as Surah Al-Mu'minun, which is the 23rd surah in the order of recitation. And this is ayat number 3. It is part of a conversation that is happening, or part of a statement that is actually occurring. And of course, there is a lot from the surah of the Quran or the entire juz to take, but I personally felt that this was beneficial for me because I think as insan, as human beings, we're becoming so consumed with certain things in our lives that it's beginning to take away our ruhaniyat and spirituality. And it's very, very important that we build our spirituality, our ruhaniyat, our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And there are certain things that become obstacle or the reasons of developing that relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Sometimes we try our best in doing things, but then there are certain obstacles that stop us from being close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we need to narrow down and focus on what are those obstacles. What is stopping me from coming close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What is not allowing me to have khushu in my salah? What is not allowing me to have more focus in my dhikr? What is allowing me to not have the time to be able to pray and make dua while being able to, shed some tears? Meaning, what is stopping us? So it's important for us to reflect. So I personally felt that this might be beneficial for myself and others. So just to give you a quick context of what's going on, the surah of the Quran begins with a statement in past, where the Quran says qad, right? And the word qad in Arabic is used for emphasis, to endorse something and to make sure that people understand beshak, like indeed. And the word qad, aflaha al-mu'minun. And the word aflaha in Arabic and in Arabic language is so beautiful that a single word has 14 different tenses, and then you can multiply them into past, present, and future. Right? That's how deep the Arabic language itself is. So beautiful and so profound itself. So the word aflaha, which is one of the words of falah, which is success, is used for something in the past. And also for something that is continuous as well. Not that it has just once, but it's used for something in the past. So the Quran is saying the believers have already succeeded. Meaning if Allah gave you iman and you live upon it and you leave upon it, you already made it. Meaning you already made the list of those that are successful. It's just that we need to try to leave this world in iman. May Allah give us khatima bil iman. Brothers and sisters, that's one of the most important du'as that we should all be making. That with the trials and the tests and difficulties around us, to safeguard our iman and to leave with iman is one of the biggest challenges that we're living in. As the Nabi of Allah said, a time will come that a person will leave their homes in the morning with iman and return by evening that their iman will be finished. And they will leave homes by the evenings, and by the morning before the sunrise, their iman will be gone. So it's important that we do all that we can to secure our iman. Sometimes we become too, comfortable with situations around us that we don't even realize that these are impacting our iman. Brothers and sisters, there is nothing more precious that any one of us have here than iman that Allah has given us. There's nothing more precious. We need to protect our iman. We need to protect this iman, and this has to be one of our major concerns and fikr and worries at all moments, that, oh Allah, how do I protect my iman? Oh Allah, how do I protect the iman of my family and my children? And especially for the young parents who are raising children, and every single day challenges are increasing, every single day. How do I protect them? Anyways, it will take us away from the topic. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Indeed, the believers have become successful. Now, who are these believers? The Quran gives us multiple qualities of these people. الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. They have khushu in their salah. Then the second sifat, which I just mentioned, I'll come to it. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. I'll explain in just a few moments what that means. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِزَكَاتِهِمْ فَاعِلُونَ. They give their zakat on time. وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ. They do not involve in unchaste actions, meaning illegal relationship, haram relationships. They protect themselves from doing wrong, except for their own wives and their families. And then the Quran says they are protecting their salah. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْوَارِثُونَ. These are the true inheritors. Inheritors of what? And then the Quran says, الَّذِينَ يَرِثُونَ الْفِرْدَوْسِ. They will become the inheritors of Jannatul Firdaus. Meaning, these qualities that are mentioned above are the ways to get you to Jannatul Firdaus. And amongst one of the qualities, which I will come back to this ayat of the Quran, is وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. True believers are the ones that protect themselves from unnecessary conversation and actions. Things that have no benefit in this world and akhirah. Vain talk, things that are inappropriate, things that are not useful for dunya and akhirah. And subhanAllah, just to give you two things, I know it's going to take a few more minutes, but I want to make sure that we take whatever good we can from these moments. Imam Abu Dawud rahmatullahi alayhi is one of the greatest scholars of hadith. I've mentioned this previously as well. Imam Abu Dawud rahmatullahi alayhi said that I studied over 500,000 ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And how do we get so many ahadith? It's because of the chain of narration. So for example, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ is a famous hadith in Bukhari. But it comes multiple times in Bukhari with different narrations, different people narrating to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they are considered different ahadith. So he said, I have learned more than 400,000 ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then if I gather all of them, I extract them to 4 things in my life. If you learn 4 hadith, it is as though that you have learned almost 500,000 ahadith. Someone asked Imam Abu Dawud rahmatullahi, what are those 4 ahadith? So he said, and I can't go through them quickly in details, but just quickly to remember, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. One of the hadith is, actions are dependent upon niyat. If your niyat is good, then Allah will make everything good for you, number 1. Number 2, he said from the hadith of Rasulullah ﷺ that al-halal bayyin wal-haram bayyin wa baynahuma mushtabihat. Halal is clear, haram is clear. What is between it is doubtful. Protect yourself from doubtful, Allah will protect your iman as well. Famous hadith of Rasulullah ﷺ. Third hadith, he says, you can never be a complete believer till you don't love for others what you love for yourself. Hadith of Rasulullah ﷺ. And the fourth and the final hadith he said was, from amongst the part of the perfection of Islam, if you want to perfect your Islam, Rasulullah ﷺ said, min husn al-Islam al-mar'i. From amongst the part of the perfection of your Islam is to avoid useless things in life. Protect yourself from things that are not beneficial. Min husn al-Islam al-mar'i tarkuhu ma la ya'ni. Fazul cheezon se bachna. Things that are no benefit of this world and akhirah. So engaging in conversations and actions have no benefit in dunya and akhirah. Rasulullah said this is a part of the excellence of a person. I'll mention one quick story of my own and I'll conclude, I promise. I don't want to take too much of your time. So when you finish the study of hadith, you go to madrasas and you study in institutions around the world. When I finished my studies, one of the dreams of the students of Deen is to travel to people from whom they can narrate the hadith of Rasulullah ﷺ with the least chain of narration. So for example, alhamdulillah, myself, and of course the ulama that are present, Every single one of us, we can narrate a hadith back to Rasulullah ﷺ, chaining by our teachers. That I learned from my ustad, who learned from his ustad, go back directly to Rasulullah ﷺ. That's why we can't just throw words. Every word counts, it's important. So amongst the dream of the ulama is to travel to shuyukh and elders and great ulama so that we can decrease the level of our chain and increase our connection with Rasulullah ﷺ. So, for example, if my current connection is 21, I'll go and look for some great sheikh who had elderly teachers, who has maybe a chain of narration of only 17 to Rasulullah ﷺ. So that's, you go hunting for ulama and scholars that you can sit in their suhbah and you can request them and beg them that they can give you. So there was a great sheikh, rahimahullah ta'ala, he passed away. For those who are familiar with Pakistan, it's a small area near Gakkar, a place next to Gujranwala area. It was a small little street inside. He was one of the greatest ulama in Pakistan. His name was Maulana Sarfaraz Khan Sahib Safdar rahmatullah alayhi. He was the soldier of Ahl-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, meaning he stood against all fitan that ever raised, meaning I can speak about him forever. He was a legend. His books are so profound. So I remember I went to him. I sat in front of him. He was elderly. I was with my dad. And I said, Hazrat, ek hadith ki ijazat de de. Give me, I have traveled from far away just to learn hadith from you, if I can get the hadith ijazat. So he thought for a little bit. He didn't give ijazat to everyone. He thought for a little bit. And then he said, I will narrate to you one hadith that will give you ijazat from all the books of hadith from me. And then he recited the hadith. Min husnil islamil mar'i tarkuhu ma la yani. A man who was known for his ilm of hadith mentioned one thing. He said, for the part of the excellence of a Muslim is to avoid things that are useless. Protect yourself. That's the fourth hadith that Imam Abu Dawud rahmatullah alayhi mentioned. So going back to the same ayat of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defines believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defines the people of Jannatul Firdaus and says, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. Lagh means vain talk, useless things, irrelevant things, things that have no benefit. And more than ever, and again, social media is great, phones are great, things are great, but all of these have become so, much absorbed in our lives that we become so accustomed to the usage of these things that it's taken away our valuable time. And this was my request I wanted to say this to my own self. That's why I selected this ayat of the Quran, that if we can value our time and where and how we spend our time, our entire lives will change. We need to assess every moment of our lives. And if it's beneficial for me or if it's harmful for me. Is it love or is it not? Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was standing and someone began to converse with him. He stayed quiet. And when he spoke back, he left. Rasulullah left. And he says the angel was applying for it. And Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi was standing one day and a man began to argue and fight. He slowly walked off. And they say, you never even answered him. He said, the moments of my ilm is more important than conversing with this man. Meaning, you cannot get people to be convinced in arguments and fights. I can better spend my time in other places. So it's important that we value our time. So let's go, and I again apologize for the delay. 18th Sipana, today is our 18th fast. This is Surah number 23, Surah Al-Mu'minun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defines the quality of those that are believers and succeeded. And these are the people, inshallah, who will have Firdaus as their virasat, meaning they will inherit it. They will be amongst those who will enter Jannatul Firdaus. Amongst the quality that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions is verse number 3 for today, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ, that they protect themselves from useless talk, vain talk, things that have no benefit or actions that are useless. They protect themselves from those things. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our lives productive and allow us to spend the rest of the Ramadan in our lives in the commands of Allah and the Sunnah of Rasulullah. Jazakallah khairan. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi.